deteriorated, but it was that same smooth, beautiful finish, which is just, it's so much work to get that result out of granite. It's a place called Oriente Tambo, and it's, you know, these 80, 90 ton, 100 ton granite blocks that were moved onto this site on top of a mountain. But along the path to where the quarry is, they have these tired stones that have there was another example of like tools down. They'd stopped work, and that parts of that place seem unfinished too. But literally on some of those blocks that come from the quarry, and indeed on blocks in that quarry, exactly the same tool marks, exactly the same scoop marks. I'll show you. I'll post some pictures maybe in the Telegram group. But yeah, I think Russ also said that, you know, we know it was cased. You see the granite block up top there. At least 16, 17 courses were cased in granite. We don't really know. There's a huge amount of granite rubble from here, but also I think about a year ago, last year at some point, Mustafa Waziri, at the time the head of the Antiquities Department here in Egypt, had excavated. You see that darker coloured patch of sand just here? So he had dug a big pit. I've got the video of it, and he showed that beneath this level there's at least another 2 courses of stone, and they were even bigger stones, like they were huge stones. So we hadn't gotten down to the base yet, like to the foundation. I would love one day for them to clear this off and to get down to the foundation, because I'd love to see what the foundation looks like. But we know at least you can think this is probably just at the least this is the 3rd course. We don't know. There's at least 2 more courses beneath this.
All this granite came from these corridors. It's a very hard job. We hardly carried ourselves inside. How are we going to build this with the people that carries it down in the smaller part? The British, you saw that it was enlarged on the granite stone outside. That when they were coming out with the box, they enlarged the corridor here. They did lots of damage where they put the machine that destroyed the rumbling, and they also did the destruction for the entrance so they can move out easily. And they dug these holes here and in the back to pull.
When the granite came off, we really don't know, but I mean, I'm convinced you're talking many tens of thousands of years. You can't compare the erosional features of this structure, of the Valley Temple, of the megalithic work to the rest of this 4th dynasty stuff and say it's the same thing. It's not even close. Like we probably won't have time to hit it, but there's a place to the east is this way, right? So it's called something called the Western Cemetery that's behind the Great Pyramid. Beautiful dynastic work made from the same limestone from the plateau. Small blocks, you know, some of them are this pretty big, but not like this, and never cased in granite and still in really good condition. Like they actually say that stuff over there is older than this structure because Khufu supposedly built this one, and he was the father of Khafra who built this one. So they say, well, that stuff over there is older than this, but it's just like are not accounting for the erosional damage that's very clearly happened here. I mean, this is insanely ancient for this to have had this much erosion. It's quite remarkable, and just the size of it, right? There are blocks in this structure, like I said, that are at least 450 tons. Core blocks of limestone. Why would you do this? Like, well, you could build from smaller blocks. You don't need to build, like, lots of these smaller block structures are still standing. Like, that's not just, they didn't do it just for earthquake proof, because some of that stuff from the 4th dynasty is still standing that's made from smaller blocks. But why they chose to build like this, it's an insane logistical achievement. And they just did it again and again and again.
Built from mud bricks, just like the ones you see around here. And it had ceilings on the mud for King Cheops, which actually dated it back to the 4th dynasty, about 2500 BC. Temple was known as the Granite Temple because it's not just this one, there is another one identical to it on top. And both are connected with what's known as the cosmology. The insets for the granite stone pieces. So when you look at this cavity right here, that is going between 3 blocks, you know that at least from here until here, there was a piece of granite And they used to also interlock it sideways.
Reinforcement here, you see the concrete and there's blocks behind that. So this big wave-shaped erosion actually went all the way down there. There's also modern repair on that end too. So you can see the erosional features of the structure cross over multiple blocks. So it's not like they weren't just putting these in place with erosion on them already. This happened after it was put in place. This is rock cut. So you're standing on bedrock, this is bedrock, this is bedrock. They put inset blocks. So again, they left some bedrock here to lock the structure into the bedrock. And this is insane. This is tough like chert here. Like this is super
Very hard.
hard stone. So what probably happened here was when the dynastics were working on this site, they built this, basically connecting the structures, and that's why this butts up against an unfinished portion of the pyramid. There is quite a bit of difference between this architecture and then what we'll see in the actual mortuary temple. It's a subtle thing, but the dynastic Egyptians were capable of good work. This is still that type of thing. And even though this does show quite erosion, it's not to the same degree as the erosion that you see on the limestone here. And this is very similar, so same type of erosion, same apparent age as the temple we saw on the middle pyramid complex, yeah? Slowly dragging GPR devices back and forth across the space. And they have like a optic something. A couple of camera looking things in there. Pointing at it. Maybe it's like a thermal, looking at eddy thermal. Maybe they're doing long-term heat mapping. But they've found voids behind this. So they know that it's not very big, I don't think, but there are voids behind this.
A spiritual ascension Stargate. We're here. Heal the Earth grid through subliminal absorption of sacred geometry. 64 Stargates across the plasmoverse. And we're activating them. The happening is happening. There are 64 Stargates across the Earth grid. And we're healing the Earth grid through activating such Stargates. Plasmoverse, and it's happening.
الحورس الحامي تمام ومكتوب وسر ديدد ده اسم البوابه نفسها اسمها وسر ديدد.
This is the name of the gate.
وسر ديدد اسم البوابه نفسها.
يعني
قوية العطاء حاجه زي كده قوية العطاء.
وسر did means the strong giving, strongly giving.
حاميات بقى رجال وسيدات. الرجال باشكال مختلفه هم والسيدات هتلاقي فيها ارانب.
هتلاقي فيها males and females.
في النسر اشكال ادميه تمام دي 5.
سبخت the Stargate number 5. And it has 5 stars.
اسمها الجد.
And it means and it's labeled as the Jid. Which is a sign of stability.
ده المعبود اللي هنا الحامي ليها اختي اللي هي في الافق يعني
it's in the horizon.
اللي حامي عليه هنا اسمه حور حري واجف. تمام حورس الذي يعتلي عمود البرد عمود الواش.
والعلامه بتاع البيت
حري فوق الذي يعلى اسمها كلها حري.
The one on top of the column.
حري واجف.
The name of the guardian of this.
وده نتر نب
سكر.
النتر سكر سكر معبود سكر سحور
يبقى ده سكر.
سكر
سكر. Is also a falcon headed.
Now the falcon goes.
Yeah. Sukar is the one that is connected to the underground galleries that is down.
It literally translates to Stargate. There's a number of stars pointing at it.
Understanding that it's a Stargate is a beginning because
Stargate.
this is our work.
Number of
Nobody
stars
talks about
is six. Is like six, and then there's
classic hieroglyph translation. They say it's just a gate. It's not a Stargate. Here, these are clearly talking about Stargates with the names and the numbers, like they numbered them. It's not in a temple. It's not a Stargate in a temple. It's not the gate that the king built in the temple. No, this is a totally different style of inscriptions to talk about it as part of this. Look how the cycle is divided.
yeah, it's on the
There is
roof.
knowledge here. Wow. Opening these Stargates. Stargate is not to
Processional cycle.
like a move.
Well, with a negative.
There is another.
Kicking up here.
You can open a portal
It doesn't
for
mention.
certain powers that will be used for certain activations. Maybe it's what we call magic or something else. هنا بقى دي نمرة 6.
I was going to ask, is there actual representations of real constellations here as well? And that's what you're saying. This is. Yeah. Which one?
The turtle. We only see it in the ceilings. We will see it in the museum and in some of the
سخبة إيحر البوابة بتاعت الصعود.
Right? As I said, because you can see here, this is the staircase to heaven.
إيحر معناها الصعود.
What's known later as Jacob's ladder, yeah? It's represented as the step pyramid. That's where the story of the step pyramid, it was the staircase to heaven and all that stuff. So this is the gate number 2 for those who want to ascend. Okay? Who's taking gate number 2?
There's one here as well. Yeah.
Where's the one that goes down?
It's where we are. Look at this. They were about to build more. There's more stars being built. Was not covered.
Pretty good evidence of Stargates and hieroglyphs. Very exciting.
Leo, as we learn from the whole down there, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, you see how it's falling in Aquarius, Pisces, Aries,
And the bull.
Taurus,
Cancer.
Gemini,
That's a
and the
crab.
Cancer.
That's a crab.
Here, the front leg of the bull is a representation of the Ursa Major. And the Tauret is Draco constellation. Draco and the polar bear, the big devil.
So when was this removed? This is a replica of the
Yeah,
original.
they stole it from here
Yeah.
and they made a replica and they put the other one.
This is a
Where?
replica.
So the
It's
calendar
in
starts
Paris.
with Leo.
It's in Paris.
It's in Paris.
It's
In the Louvre.
It's in the Louvre.
Yeah, so the ceiling,
All the years
when they took it out, the ceiling was still
We
covered
know
in
that
soot,
from
so they
the
painted the
calendar.
replica to match the ceiling at the time. Hence it's black. You can't clean this, it's painted.
Yeah, and it doesn't look at all like paint. So
Well, yeah, they did. I mean, it's a nice replica, but the original, I'm sure they, I don't know if they cleaned it, I can't remember.
How much a big color?
Yeah, I like anything else. Yeah. I mean, well, you mean there's a little bit of colour still there. Yeah.
sea turtle, which is actually a constellation.
wraps up Dendera. Plenty of key takeaways. One thing I'm very grateful for are the hieroglyphs of the Stargates. Can analyze those, draw them, and yeah, do some more research into those, because furthermore, the Dendera light bulbs that were in those tunnels, I'm gonna look into those as well, because it all ties back to plasma technology. All right, let's continue on. It's happening. It is happening. Just so incredible. Look how cool this is. We're home. We're home. Back in Egypt. I am grateful for you. I am grateful for this life. Amen.
Instead of like overriding with plaster, you have here what was probably the original high relief glyphs in plaster that then were overwritten with a later set of inscriptions. See this, you've got glyphs here, but then you've also then someone's come along and hammered in more deeply another set. So you have this overriding process. And Ramses II's son, Merenptah, did the same thing to him. But Ramses was pretty clever in that what he would typically do is carve his name really deeply. So you couldn't sort of do to him what he was doing to previous rulers. So that's why a lot of times you see Ramses, his cartouche is carved in, an inch or two. It makes it really hard to override it. There's some great examples of how they would do that though, is like a place like Tanis, you can literally see that process. It wasn't quite finished where they were inscribing over the top of older glyphs, even in hardstone like granite. So yeah, you have this mixture. Now this temple's dedicated to Seti I. You still have Merenptah, and you have Ramses II all over the place here. So all three of them were like trying to claim the temple. Yeah. And all of these glyphs down the side in high relief, and then the low relief glyph is carved over the top of it. You sort of have another figure here, probably one of the kings standing next to him, but just chonked over with Ramses II.
There he is.
His cartouche. You'll see this everywhere. And there, you'll know, you'll both his birth name and then his royal name. You start to recognise his cartouche everywhere. Deepest parts are at the ends, and you get a number of different accounts because they would push down. It's full of sediment and mud and also granite blocks that have fallen and quarry remnants. But he tells me 22 meters is the deepest that they've measured going straight down. So times 3 in feet, so 70 feet, 80 feet. So we're standing on top of essentially a 20 plus meters tall granite thing that's been built on top of a natural aquifer, and we don't know what's in it. And they can't really tell because there's a water pressure problem that pushes up, and the only reason the water is this low, I mean I've seen it lower, I've seen it higher, is that there are actually pumps and remediation wells running constantly because the water's just feeding up into it. People have looked at studies of this water, obviously it's full of pigeon shit and whatever else, but there's been some interesting properties and people have made claims about the water. I don't know what to make of those. But it's super. I mean, this seems to be some sort of hydrological function that this has had. Also roof beams. You see like you had these giant ashlars on top here, and then these angled beams that were on both sides, and then you would have had another layer of these hugely thick granite beams like this that spanned the ceiling the whole way down. So it was covered with subterranean. You don't know if there was an original access to it. It has all of these alcoves around the walls that you have to cross over the moat essentially to get to. The material in the walls is different. It's quartzite, so the central structure is all granite. The walls around it are quartzite.
We're at the Osireion right now, and I would like to show you some beautiful sacred geometry. Flower of life.